Alright guys, doing a bit of an air conditioning fix today. Just wondering where this guy's going the wrong way up a one-way street, but just a little bit of an update. Might do a live chat later on today. Been very busy this week, to be honest. Yeah, I suppose the first thing I want to say is this is La Mata, because obviously you're seeing a lot on the media at the moment around the flooding in Spain and Alicante airport. Somebody said yesterday it was closed. La Mata hasn't really suffered with the weather. The beach does, don't get me wrong, the beach takes a hammering. It washes away where the channels are. Well, basically the drainage comes down, and obviously with a lot of rain it sort of creates these divides on the beach, because I think the drainage pipe sort of finishes on the beach rather than going out to sea. So in a sense it's alright when it's just a trickle of rain, but in heavy rain it sort of cuts a channel in the beach so that the excess water can basically wash away. So that's the majority of the damage in this area. Don't get me wrong, there's been a couple of little bits of floods, but nothing I can't even say property damaging, because some people have actually still managed to drive into things they shouldn't have done. I mean, I see the road down here on the left, the police were out yesterday. See where the habanera sign is on the left here. There's a little turn there, and it's just a small dip, and that's full of water. Might have gone now. But there was a car that managed to get in that flood yesterday. Their indicators were on when I come past last night. And have a look over to the right here, you would have missed it. There's actually a car that's stuck in the field. How it managed to get there is beyond me. It's probably somebody actually playing in the storms. I don't know, because it's not actually anywhere near the road. And then there was a junction here. They'd actually cut it off. They put two barriers across it to stop people going down there into that little bit of a flood on the left. It looked like somebody had actually ran into the barriers. But beyond that, as you can see, we don't really have too much of a problem. But I was talking to Carlos this morning about it, because like where he lives on the top of sort of halfway down a hill. And he's had the same. It's like, unless you've seen it on the news or Facebook or something, you wouldn't even know it even happened. Because we don't really get too affected by it. A lot of other areas got absolutely hammered. April was telling me one of our friends may actually be getting evacuated from where they are because of the flooding. Well, as you can see, it stopped raining now, so hopefully it stopped raining in some other areas. But another point on that is, don't assume that the water is stopped, because one of the problems you get if you live in one of the areas that gets water washed off the mountains, it could be a couple of days for that water to actually come through where you live. So I suppose some areas are still on alert, but personally we're not too affected. If I was going to the airport, definitely would be affected, but because we're just potting around, the worst we've had is the internet going off, and that was only for a few hours. Come on. Another thing I've been looking at this week is I'm thinking about going back to work for a bit. We've got some work coming in online on a regular basis, but it's not steady enough. It'll pay the bills, but not a lot else. And to be honest, I want to be buying my first property probably by January, February of next year. If I go back to work now, there's two things that happens. A, it releases the money that's actually sat in the bank, because we're no longer living off it. We'll actually be able to use it for property purchases. And B, there'll be a steady cash flow in there, which means we can get the deposit paid and then pay bits of the property off at probably €1,000 a month. So we start progressing that quite quickly. I'm not a fan of debt, which is why if we do it, we want to buy it and get it paid off as quick as possible. But work-wise, there's been a few offers coming from the UK. Well, not just the UK. I was offered some work in Ireland as well, yeah. Which I might be at next week to have a look at. But yeah, things are progressing. One of the things I will say, it's much easier to make money in the UK and spend it here. So if you are thinking of moving across, it's easier to do in stages. Because a lot of the properties here aren't exactly the best construction, in the sense of the wiring could be substandard or there's other issues. So I mean, if you bought a place, it's probably easier to buy one and look to move the year after. If you're coming out of your retirement, it's better off to do it bit by bit, because then you could get the renovations and stuff done ready for your retirement. Or if you've got some spare capital worth preparing, like for your retirement, because you can rent it out until you're ready to come over. Or like now, you'll find a lot of the properties are empty because obviously the holiday season's finished. Which means that basically you could come over here in the winters or whenever, suit yourself. This morning I'm actually going to go and fix somebody's air conditioning. So it's ain't bad for a Saturday morning. This area here, I've just thought of, does flood quite bad, so I'm hoping this is actually cleared. This is where we lived before. Near where that Tory Asia sign is on the left. We were near there, and that's often in the news here when it's under about a foot of water. But I don't think it's going to affect us today because we're over this side, but hopefully the water's subsided as well. But it's a bit strange seeing large puddles, because normally it's fairly dry in this area. Well, not fairly, it is. What else have I done this week? I got lobster. I've decided to use the lobster for my telephone, because I can use that in Spain, the UK, etc. Got rid of movie star for telephones. Well, that's another story, because as soon as we'll say we're going to cancel it and we'll transfer it to another provider, they literally cancel it on the spot, and then the new provider couldn't actually get the telephone numbers, so I've had to reconnect them for a month so I can actually transfer my numbers out. But we live and learn. So if you are wanting to change provider before the end of the month, contact your provider just to say I want your new provider, and say I want these numbers transferred from the existing company, then go and cancel it. Otherwise you've got to reconnect them and then wait a month because they won't release them. But we live and learn. Also got rid of the satellite box because we don't actually watch it. The kids seem to watch YouTube a lot more. April likes Netflix, but I know there's a lot of the IPTV stuff, but we don't actually watch it too. I mean, I don't watch it too much anyway, but I'm not one for jumping around TV shows or being in at 8 o'clock at night to watch a specific TV show, so it's not really something I even think about. I mean, at the moment I'm watching The Goldbergs, which is like an 80s TV show, because I find it quite funny. But as you can see, there's not a lot of water damage now. Oh, that was the other thing. This is the Citroen garage on the right. I went to the Renault garage because I'm interested in like a small van. Now, when I went to the Renault garage, nobody come forward. I actually went in about 14 cars looking at, the prices, the sizes and everything else. I would not say it's a very good customer experience. However, went to the Citroen garage, and as I come in the doors, I'm not sure it was the owner, the sales manager or whatever, he sort of shouted from the balcony, "Oh, this guy will be down in a minute to come and see you." Completely different attitude, and I do recommend, although it might be a little bit pricey, the Citroen Berlingo XL. It's a van I'm looking at. It's about 20,000 euros. So I'm going to see if I can get a second-hand one somewhere. But the only problem is it's a new model for this year. So I like it in the sense that it's got, you can get the 5 or 7 seat version. It's good for the family usage, but also it's good for the like with air conditioning. It's because it's the XL, the longer one. It's big enough to get the air conditioning units in the back. So that's what I'm looking at the moment, and it's also had some good feedback from pretty much everywhere. But I mean, the 20,000 euros. I was talking to a friend of mine. Well, I was whinging to my wife about it, but also a couple of friends. How cars have sort of shot up in price. When you used to pay, about half of what they're costing now. I don't know. They go, "Oh, well, we've added these extra safety features. We've added this. We've added that." And then you go, "Oh yeah, that's 500. That's 800. That's 1,000." And it's like, but do you do any basic models anymore? Because I could get a car for about 10, 12 grand before. So it looks like I've gone round in circles because I forgot the turning. So I'm going to go round the roundabout and back around again. That's what happens when I do chatting while driving. But I'm focused on driving, I'm not focused on my directions. So what about the Buyers Club? The Buyers Club is still something we're working on. I'm speaking with, I'll say his name's Gareth because his name is Gareth, but he did tell me not to mention his name. We're going to start a WhatsApp group to discuss it, because like I said, it's not a case of this is my idea and I'm going to try the next turning. I'm sure we're straight down the bottom of that one, but anyway. The guy that I'm doing the air conditioning this morning, if you want to know why I'm late, this is why, because I've forgotten which turning it was. Yeah, the Buyers Club, it's not set in stone yet, because quite simply I'm trying to make it so it's beneficial to everybody, but not, and I'm well aware you cannot suit everybody, but there's two things there. The first one is, if you want to buy in a way which is rent to buy, and you're paying as if you're renting it, so you could actually stop renting it at some point, because we're not going to be charging over and above. It's just going to be roughly what you'd pay in rent. At the same time, the benefit for investors is they're getting a return on investment every month, and somebody that actually is looking to buy the property. That's one side. But the other side is for the holiday rentals, the long-term rentals, and actually generating a business from it for the long term. So we're still working on it. But anybody is interested, drop me a private message on, if you go to Toliveka Services website, you'll see in the bottom right there's a WhatsApp where you can contact me. Message me on there, and then I'll look to add you to the group, because I've got to form it. I'll probably do it this afternoon. But I think this is a good option. This is normally empty on the left, by the way. Be a good option for people looking to buy property here in Spain, looking at investing, and I just need to sort of get everybody's ideas on it. Then we'll start looking into legalities. The legal side I'm not going to do today, because we need to work out the business plan side, as somebody's already mentioned. We've got to put together exactly what we were looking to do, and from that we make this decision. Otherwise you spend money putting a plan together, and then somebody, "Oh, let's change it and we'll do this," and then the problem you get is when you do change it, suddenly you have to reapply and put everything forward again because it was changed. So the main thing is we'll sort of thrash out what we want, how we're going to do it, what sort of returns on investment, is there any lock-in periods, are there any penalties, you know, for example, if somebody needed their cash urgently but somebody was willing to buy their share out or whatever. Different ways of doing it, because the whole concept on this is to make it work for everybody, which, like I said, is the hard bit. If the world was suited for everybody, we wouldn't have any wars or anything. But anyway, I'm gonna have to go. I'll probably do another update later. I suppose this is more of a drive round today while I try and find this house. Alright, thanks for watching.